Oh, we're supposed to get sunshine today.
And later.
All right, we're good.
Oh, good morning and welcome to the Medina County Commissioners meeting. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In our prayer for the morning, Heavenly Father, we beseech your divine guidance in this meeting. Keep us ever mindful of our obligations. Grant us, dear Lord, wisdom, tolerance, and courage, that we may well serve our county and fulfill our trust. Amen. Commissioner Sweattick had something come up this morning, so she is not going to be here in attendance, although if she gets it taken care of, she may join us at a little later time. So Steve, could I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Move to approve the minutes of September 21st.
I'll second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Hambley?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes. We'll move right into our resolutions, and first up we have Andy Conrad, our county engineer, and standing in is Dan Becker.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dan.
Let's see what we got today. I've got two resolutions for your consideration. The first is the determination to close Old Weymouth Road between Nichols and Remsen Road, and the second is the necessity to close Root Road between Spencer Lake and Chatham Road. And then we also have our weekly permits.
Move to approve both resolutions.
And I'll second. So Dan, is there a road in Medina County that you haven't closed down this year?
No, not really.
Not too many left.
but winter's coming, so it'll be better, right? You don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
Good luck, guys.
Roll call, please.
Hambley?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Yep.
Next up, we have Amy Lyon Galvin, our Assistant County Administrator. Good morning, Amy.
Good morning. I have 6 resolutions for your consideration this morning. The first one is amending the appropriation measure resolution. The second is amending the 2021 appropriations resolution by transferring appropriations. The third is the third quarter sales tax distribution to the various school districts located in Medina County. The fourth resolution is designating the battered women's shelter of Summit and Medina counties to receive proceeds from marriage licenses and divorce fees for calendar year 2022. Fifth resolution is allowing expenses of county officials. And the sixth and final resolution is approving claims for the week in the amount of $838,191.67.
Move to approve the 6 resolutions.
Second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Hambley?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Amy. Next, we have Holly Murin, our Human Resources Director. Good morning, Holly.
Good morning. On our personal changes resolution today, we have 6 new hires, 1 at Job and Family Services, 2 in Transit, and 3 in Sanitary. We have 7 rate increases, 1 at Job and Family Services, 1 in Maintenance, and 5 in Sanitary. 1 return from leave at County Home, and 2 resignations, 1 in Sanitary and 1 at Job and Family Services.
Move to approve.
Second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Hambley?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly. Next, we have Scott Miller, our County Administrator.
Good morning.
Good morning, Scott.
I have 4 resolutions for today. The first resolution is authorizing a request for proposals. This is for consulting services for move management. This has to do with the courthouse and moving the courts out of the old courthouse and into the new courthouse. The second resolution is allowing employees to serve as poll workers. This is pursuant to ORC 3501.28F. As you know, last year we had issues with poll workers, and I believe we're going to have that same issue this year, getting poll workers. So this resolution allows county employees to actually work as poll workers if needed. The third resolution is authorizing the adoption of Medina County Indigent Defense Fee Cost Recoupment Policy. The Ohio Public Defender's Office is requiring the counties to file a recoupment policy. So the courts put together a policy, sent it over, the judges signed it, and this is just the commissioners authorizing the policy before it's sent to the Public Defender's Office. And the final resolution is accepting and awarding a bid for Medina County Sheriff Entry Renovation Project. Sheriff Grice obtained a capital grant for improvements at the jail, so he's going to redo the entryway when you walk in and just increase security.
Move to approve the 4 resolutions.
I'll second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Hambley?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Jeremy Cinco, our sanitary engineer.
Morning, everyone.
Morning, Jeremy.
3 resolutions for consideration today. The first is authorizing the sanitary engineer to enter into an agreement with CT Consultants for professional design services. This is to review our existing permit fee structure. The second is authorizing the sanitary engineer to enter an agreement with Davie Resource Group for professional design services. This is to design the riverbank stabilization and repair project along Columbia Road. And third is authorizing the sanitary engineer to enter an agreement with Rolling and Hocevar for professional design services. This is to provide a base map for a replacement of a 16-inch concrete water main next year.
Move to approve the 3 resolutions.
I'll second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Hambley?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Next up, we have a couple of resolutions. Looks like 3, 4, 5, 6. So Debbie, why don't you come up and do your resolutions, and you can do your department update at the same time. Good morning.
So 6 resolutions for your consideration. The first is authorizing a contract with the Children's Center of Medina County for child visits at that center. The next is authorizing an MOU between Job and Family Services and Alternative Paths. The next is authorizing an advertisement for proposals relating to behavioral, mental health, and substance abuse services for Job and Family Services. And another is authorizing the advertisement for proposals relating to foster family software services for Job and Family Services. The next is awarding proposals for professional services for our TANF and food assistance job development services. And lastly, resolutions just amending our annual PRC plan.
All right. Move to approve the 6 resolutions.
I'll second. Any questions, Steve?
Nope.
Roll call, please.
Hambley?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes. All right, you're up.
I usually give you individual division updates, but today I'm going to break from that custom and instead give you some updates just as it relates to the Public Assistance Division and the current health emergency. Because when the health emergency was instituted, the Department of Medicaid, the State Department of Medicaid, advised all counties that Medicaid recipients couldn't be terminated from their coverage during the health emergency, lest they not have access to care during a health emergency. The only exceptions were if someone died, passed away, moved out of state, or the recipient requests to be removed. So those were the only reasons we could terminate coverage. So just a bit of context here. All Medicaid recipients must participate in what we call an annual review. They need to contact the county offices, be interviewed, provide certain verifications depending on what category of coverage they're on. Those recipients must also report any changes in their income, resources, household size. So there's a decent amount of requirements of those Medicaid recipients throughout the course of their time on Medicaid. So those requirements remained during the health emergency. However, we couldn't penalize or terminate anyone if they failed to do those things during the health emergency. So staff are still updating cases. They're still attempting to do the annual reviews. But those that would have otherwise been removed from Medicaid, they remained on sort of a protected status during this health emergency. So then the question begs, then what? The health emergency, if it ends, we expect it to expire via Health and Human Services the end of 2021, unless they extend it past that. So as of today, since we believe it's going to end December 31st, once that ends, the laws that were enacted, as I understand it, as part of the State of Ohio's budget, because there's some FMAP changes that were implemented as part of this Medicaid protected status mandate, that once counties receive notification that the health emergency has ended, we have just 60 days to redetermine eligibility for all those in protected status. So what does that mean for Medina County? Currently, there are about 4,000 cases, Medicaid cases, that are in current review status, or past due status. So all those people that were protected that maybe didn't participate in their annual review or did and were maybe over income during that annual review time, those people are protected. So the state of Ohio is saying once we end the public health emergency, you have 60 days to redetermine eligibility on those 4,000 cases. So let's just say that there's 2 people for every 4,000. I bet you it's more than that. I'm being conservative. That's 8,000 individuals that we'll need to redetermine eligibility on in just 60 days. So we're hoping that the State Department of Medicaid will do what they call a batch processing, that they will run something overnight that will run through the benefit system and catch all those people that look like they're not eligible anymore. They have done that for different programs, for TANF, for food stamps, things like that. But more often than not, when they run that batch, some of those cases will fall out. It's not an infallible system, so some of them will fall out. So we'll still have to deal with some of these cases that sit out there in that protected status that now need terminated. We don't have any reports on, I have numbers for those that are due for renewal, but I don't have any numbers because it doesn't exist. That data doesn't exist for cases that are currently open, not due for renewal, but they're still in that protected status because maybe they contacted the agency and said, I had a job change, or someone moved in, someone moved out. There is no way to collect that data. So there's 4,000 that I know of that are renewals that are due or past due that we'll need to take action on. There's an unknown number of individuals that are out there that are potentially on Medicaid but are ineligible for other reasons. So it's going to be a heavy lift for the Public Assistance Division. Go ahead, Steve.
Do these individuals that are in that category, do they know that they actually are liable, or they may very well lose because of that change in their, let's say, their income status or their eligibility?
Yeah, great question. So there was a notice that was issued, I believe it was last month, if not, September, either August or July. A notice was sent to individuals saying that you may be under this protected status, and once the public health emergency ends, you may not qualify anymore for Medicaid. If you have any changes to report, please contact the agency and let us know. Because they may have contacted the agency and said that I have changed jobs and we redetermined eligibility and didn't close them. But now they might have changed jobs again and maybe forgot to tell us. So that notice went out saying, hey, you might be under this protected status. And if you are, please contact the agency and give us basically a full briefing of what your eligibility might be.
So who sent out those notices?
The state of Ohio.
The state of Ohio. And they would be, okay. Because I'll just say, I've seen some of the statements, they get very legalese. And it's very difficult, I'll just say, sometimes to get to the bottom line of what they're trying to communicate.
Absolutely.
So it could confuse even those that are, I'll just say, high literacy in those kind of requirements. So there's no other communication that's going to be sent to them other than that.
Other than that, correct.
Okay.
And that went out in July, August-ish.
Yeah.
I'm working with the Public Assistance Administrator to work on a press release of some kind that might simplify it, and also why I'm here today saying, let's not talk about anything else but this, just to make sure that the community is aware.
I think it's a good idea to have other ways to kind of communicate that they need to pay attention, and they may think that it's a benefit they're entitled to. I mean, some of the things like some of the checks that came, like the $1,400 and all those others that they would have been qualified for, potentially could have put them out of eligibility, correct?
Yeah, those stimulus checks were excluded from.
Were excluded from that? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, so those didn't count.
Because that was going to be my question, is
Yeah.
if they are over resources of the $2,000 limit. So how do they segregate those funds and say that $2,000 came from the federal government?
Yeah, so that's a great question too. So it's income in the month received, it would be considered a resource the month after. So the month that they received that stimulus check, and this is only for the Medicaid programs that count resources, not all of them do.
Right.
So if they deposited that stimulus check in any given month, and then the following month it's still there, it counts as a resource. It's just not going to knock them off eligibility because that 1 month you got it.
But in the subsequent months after that, if they haven't spent that money down,
Correct.
they could have a potential problem. So if they're in a nursing home and don't really have a lot of expenses outside of the nursing home costs, they could potentially get bumped off Medicaid until they spend down.
Potentially.
Yes.
But more often than not, the individuals that are residing in that nursing home, once they became eligible, they were already under that resource limit. So unless they were just under that resource limit and then they didn't spend anything down, you're right. that could potentially put them over. But there are ways to spend down that money appropriately.
Right.
I won't get into that because it can get super convoluted, and I don't want to in this little microphone give a little bit of information about a big impact on something.
Right.
So that's true.
Right.
You bring up a good segue, though. The stimulus checks, sort of as it relates to unemployment. I reported several months ago that unemployment fraud was running pretty rampant. It quieted down for a while. We weren't getting that many calls, but just recently our phones have started to ring. So the unemployment fraud is back up and prevalent again. Individuals are getting notices in the mail that for people that don't even live at their address. I got one not too long ago, and it was for a woman who I have never met before, at least not to my knowledge, but it came to my address. So that's happening again. Unfortunately, now they are targeting people who are deceased. I received at least 3 phone calls from 3 different women who were widows, and there were letters about unemployment being sent to their deceased husband to their current address. And they had been deceased for several years. So these people, or whoever is doing this, is just getting more and more and more creative. So I will make a PSA, if that's what you want to call it, is that anyone that receives those unemployment letters that they believe are fraudulent, unfortunately, we're Job and Family Services, the local offices are not unemployment, but it's just a logical place for people to call because it comes from Ohio Department of Job and Family Services. So anyone that believes that it's fraudulent needs to call 833-658-0394, or they can actually go immediately online to unemploymenthelp.ohio.gov. There's a big red button that says Report Identity Theft. You can click on that and then fill out the information of the letter that you got that's not for you.
So what department is that?
The Ohio Department of Job and Family Services. It's at the state
so
level.
Basically, it has to go straight to that department at the state level.
Correct.
Not the local.
Yes. Unfortunately, the local offices, all we can do is say
Right.
what I just said.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have access to anything or any other systems. None of us do.
This has everything to do when they merged a number of years ago, that function into Job and Family Services.
Correct. Yeah, they've been separated for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
Questions?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
Have a great day.
You too. Next, we have Shannon Ryan, our Transit Director.
Good morning.
Good morning, Shannon.
For August report that our ridership continues to fluctuate month over month, year over year. We've seen some increases earlier in the year, and that started a little bit of a steady decline the last couple of months on our fixed route. Our critical services for demand, our needs are being met for the community. We have had a few trip denials on demand, higher than I'd seen in a little bit, and that's just availability of the early morning and the late afternoon. Critical times are our crunch time, we call that, in transit. But, you know, we hope to see some turnaround, although we continue to hear that folks are staying home and seeing their doctor online, seeing that medically. The critical, the dialysis are still there. Work programs are changing a little bit. We've seen some increases. Some of those folks may found a better way to get to work, whether they got a car after they did transit for a while. So that is something we're seeing a little bit of. Our passengers per hour is something that I look at very closely. We were well over the 3 passengers per hour on our fixed route, and it's about 1.75 on average for the year. So that tells me that less and less folks are riding, but we're still carrying folks that need to get where they need to go. I will update you on a few other things. We went to, our team went to the OPTA, Ohio Public Transit Association annual conference in Akron, very close, very convenient. We got to see a lot of things and hear a lot of things and meet the right people. I think I was telling Amy, we saw an electric vehicle that pretty much close to what we need, maybe a little smaller. The good news, we saw the electric vehicle. The difficult part is the gentleman drove it up from Columbus, and it took him 4.5 hours, almost 5 hours. He had to stop and charge it, and my operations supervisor, Amanda, asked, what did you do while you were charging? Said, we went to lunch. So you can just imagine that it's a little bit of ways. I had read and updated, it was 150, 160 miles to the charge. That's with the vehicle not running all the electronics that we would need for transit, right? We would need the tablets running, the cameras running, everything we're going to have, that we have, some we have. That's going to pull it down quite a bit for the charge.
And what does our average vehicle go a day? How many miles?
It can go up to 200 miles a day on some of our demands because we're covering 422 square miles with, 11 of those demand service vehicles that go just about everywhere. Spencer, Lodi area, all the way to Brunswick. Folks are traveling on medical. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be something that's a little bit of a ways. I think the larger buses are more because there's tons of batteries they can put in those. They can put about 6 or 9 in one of these smaller vehicles. So I think we're a little bit of ways, but he encouraged us to, stay tuned for Ford Transit upgrades on that.
Is the chip shortage having any impact at all, at least in the projections as to when the vehicles will be available? I mean, we know all the other automobile manufacturers, everybody else is being impacted.
Correct. ODOT updated us on a phone call before and after the conference that, what was 8-9 months is a year plus. We are working, and the next thing, that we're working on is our strategic plan. So what vehicle works for us, smaller, larger, microtransit, our strategic planning, which we are going to award very soon. We've had our interviews. We've had a lot of support from the administration building to select the right vendor for us, and we're in the process. We'll be presenting that very, very soon, if not next week, to you folks. So I think we're excited about what the future could bring, but yes, the chip shortage in vehicles immediate probably isn't something. Folks are having to share vehicles across the state that we're waiting on vehicles, so that's something that we're watching very closely.
We're certain that the mandate is going to be coming down from the feds on eventual going to these electric vehicles, correct?
Yes, I believe that, although I believe the infrastructure can be put in place, but the vehicle capability is in question with our size of vehicle.
Well, also, there's not really a great number of charging stations, so if you are going to Columbus, I don't have any idea where you'd stop between here and Columbus to charge the car up.
He said he drove about a little bit off the freeway to find a space to do it, and that's the challenge, right? I think the need is there. I think the want is there. I think the infrastructure and the capability of the vehicles are the variables that we're trying to figure out.
NOACA is doing a study of putting charging stations in different areas, Medina being one of them. But, there's still a lot of infrastructure that's needed to make the vehicles practical.
Some of the other good news is the FTA is going to be, with the infrastructure bill potentially passing, they shared with us we could get a lot more federal funding
for operations?
Buses, facilities. Operationally, we have had our CARES Act, our CRISA, and our ARPA, and we're programming that to sustain us along with our local funding. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot about infrastructure with buses and facilities is what we're seeing. We were hoping it would be a balance, but there is some talk at the ODOT level. We had a great conference to talk about how very much like we share with Cleveland, we swap. That's becoming a popular topic of a lot of different agencies in very creative ways, and ODOT is listening and working with us to do that. So it could be operating advantage.
But only within the state, though. In other words, basically it's reliant upon local partnerships, regional partnership, as well as the state, encouraging that.
Yeah, they broke us up into teams and to work at it in our UZA, our urban area, and said, what can you do within your urban to maximize and not de-obligate funding, because some folks have written grants or not programmed their money.
Right.
So they need to do that very soon, and we are going to get very strategic with that. And that'll be talked about in our strategic planning efforts. So.
Yeah, good. Thanks.
Okay.
Shannon, where are you at with bus stops? I know you were doing shelters in several different locations.
Right.
Are they all up?
The shelters will be put at the transit center, basically our hub there at Restore. We secured our building permits. I've turned the FTA information over. They're waiting for an environmental study at these 2 locations, so that's where it's at right now with the bus stops. The bus stop signage, we do have bus stop signs out. The updating of the signs could be altered a little bit with strategic planning, so we're tending not to put signs where there's not signs now. But some of the things that we're seeing in the microtransit world, it could be even more flexible than we run our fixed route now. For instance, we run a fixed route and then the bus will deviate up to a mile. We could get even more flexible and creative based on the microtransit needs of the community. We benchmark with a nearby agency, Delaware, that runs something that is, their flex route, they call it, and it's essentially a very Uber-like experience for the community. I was working very closely with our current vendor, TripSpark, which is something that they're very much ahead of the curve, and they are starting to roll out something that is an app and an Uber-like technology on a phone, which could put us even more flexible. So the bus stops would maybe be not as plentiful, but strategically done. So I think I know with strategic plans, there's going to be a lot of creative ideas. The team's excited about what that could look like. So more to come with that. I don't have a lot more to say that I can say there's a bus stop hard, fast in the ground, but I think you're going to see some more flexibility, and that's the really demand of the community right now, is to be more flexible and to get a different theming on the bus, some more marketing to the younger community to ride transit where it wouldn't normally go. We cover the grocery stores and the shoppings and the senior centers, and I think we could be even more creative with what we have. I'm hopeful that we'll get more creative and attract more ridership. So, okay.
So I think if you expand hours, this is part of the strategic plan, I guess.
That's
you get a lot of it.
Yeah, that's really what we're hearing a lot. I've been a part of some things with the community, Medina City. Debbie and I were part of things recently with the city and city planning, and they're asking, how late can you run? So you're either looking at, do you run more often with more resources, or do you run longer? And that's the question. Is folks going to work. We've been talking about how to get people home. They're finding their way home. We're getting them work, but they're finding their way home. So I believe there is a need into the evening to get people home from work, specifically. But
yeah, you have a lot of industrial type facilities around that run 3 shifts.
Second shift, third shift. Yeah, it's a real challenge to listen to what people need and what we can give them right away. I think, but we're listening, and we're going to find it. We're going to find out what the need is and fulfill it. The funding is coming. We have to have a good plan. I believe we will.
Right. Very good.
Okay.
Anything else, Steve?
Nope.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now, we have a resolution, and Commissioner Sweattick really wanted to be here to read this, but unfortunately, she is still detained. So, we would like to recognize Mary Beth Gunther, back there, for 38 years with Medina County. So it's come to the attention of the Board of Commissioners that Mary Beth Gunther is retiring from the Auditor's office on September 30th, just in a couple of days. Mary Beth has been associated with the county's Auditor's office since 1983, and she has served faithfully throughout the years and performed in a superior manner. Mary Beth started her employment as a clerk in the real estate department and concludes her career as the auditor's expert budgetary and tax levy analyst. She played an active role in the in-depth review and problem resolution for all subdivisions throughout Medina County, and the Medina County Board of Commissioners wish to recognize and honor Mary Beth for her commitment to diligent work and dedication to superior financial records in Medina County, and for her work with members of the public, private industry, other governmental agencies with the utmost respect and diligence. Be it resolved by the Board of Medina County Commissioners that Mary Beth Gunther be and is hereby commended for her 38 years of service with the Medina County Auditor's Office. The Board wishes to take the opportunity to offer best wishes to Mary Beth for her retirement.
Move to approve.
Second. So, Mary Beth, would you like to come up? Dennis, you want to come up?
Let her.
All right.
It's her honor.
So, Mary Beth, congratulations.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
We wish you a lot of happy time with family, friends, and enjoy life going forward.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I think we got one more back here.
Oh, wait.
Mary Beth, would you like to say a few words? You're welcome to if you'd like, or if you'd rather not, that's okay too.
I'm just happy to enjoy the years I've had here, and I can't wait to leave.
You're not leaving, you're retiring. All right?
Don't worry, we have her phone.
You know where to find her.
We need to vote.
Yes.
Okay.
Hambley,
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
All right.
So thank you, Mary Beth. Thanks for all you've done for 38 years. That's a long career.
Indeed.
And we appreciate your service. So it is time for public comment. Do we have any public comment today? Hearing none. Steve, could we have a motion to go into executive session after discussion?
Sure. Move that we go in to consider employment of a public employee.
I'll second. Roll call?
Hambley?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes. So we will go into discussion session now. Jeremy, anything? Scott?
Yeah, just a couple of things, just real quick. So the courthouse, I don't know if you've been over there recently, but they started putting the cement block up around the stairwells and the elevator shafts. So it's looking really good. We got our third invoice yesterday, I think, or Friday. So once that's paid, we will have had about $2,250,000 into the courthouse, and that includes the steel. So they sent us the invoice, included pictures of all the steel that they have ordered. So it continues to move forward. Also, I met with Matt Quitterhold of Main Street Medina and the War Bond Building. We talked about it. We have a plan in place. The only question right now is really the location. He got an email from City Council, one of the City Council members, who actually wants it on the square. So he's talking to City Council, so the City Council is going to work through it with, I guess, the Park Committee as to whether it goes on the square or whether it goes over by the community garden.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
So since the city square is owned by the county,
Right.
the question is, do we want it on the square?
Right. Right.
Yes.
Well,
I guess I don't really have any. It takes up valuable real estate.
well, number one, it is where it was originally. It was obviously a temporary building, but still was originally placed there. Secondly,
Where at, do you know?
right between the fountain and where the gun's at, apparently. It was right over between that section.
All right.
There. So it was placed there. Secondly, in a much more prominent position in terms of security and prevention of vandalism, all those kind of things, it makes a lot of sense to have that there. And really, you know, in my view, it's up to the city who manages the square as to whether they want to have it there and potentially even have more programming around it, given that we're approaching the 80th anniversary of the start of World War II and some other things to be there. So it kind of makes some sense from that. Yeah. But it really, in my mind, just leave it up to the city council members, the ones that express an interest. And as I understand from Matt, he originally had gone through a committee process, and their committee had said, no, they weren't interested, that's why he approached us. But at this point, no, we'll just kind of gravitate to see what they want to do. One way or the other.
So
as long as somebody takes responsibility for taking care of it and maintaining it, and so that it doesn't end up as somebody's private shed sometime, as a tool shed is what happened to it originally.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So wherever, as long as we have it
As long
in
as
our
we
possession, we're good with it.
So.
Okay.
All right, that's all I had. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Scott. Shannon, Debbie, Dennis, Amy, Christina,
No, thank you.
Holly. What?
I have something.
Okay, I'm looking at you.
Real quick, you were talking about all the road closings.
Yes.
I just wanted to note that I got a message from ODOT that State Route 57 by Poe Road is going to be closed starting Monday for 45 days for culvert replacement. So that's a major artery there. Thought I'd let you know.
Okay, Poe Road at 57.
Yeah, it's currently down to one lane. It's been down to one lane for a while. It's going to be completely.
Oh, actually, you're talking about Route 57,
57,
south of Poe
south
Road.
of
Right,
Poe.
right,
Yeah.
right there on the curve.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
45 days, that's quite a while. So.
right.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big project. Steve, you have anything?
Yeah, actually, I think we were supposed to be talking about the scoring of the ARP projects. And then I think next week is when we were talking about discussing some of them. Going through, I know some of the sheets appear to be, some of the projects, we haven't got a final update with some of those. Like I noticed when I was going through the folders, working on that, we've got the project from LMRE that is, they've altered what their proposal. I didn't see that was the former one that was actually not eligible. The road project, I think it was still in my packet.
It's just a matter then of updating your binders with the most current information.
Yeah, but have we received one from them, is the question.
We did shortly after the meeting that you had with LMRE,
Oh,
but
okay,
I'm not certain
okay.
it's the final
Got it, okay.
proposal.
So, it did,
I
Okay.
can inquire and then update
yeah,
your binders.
yeah. That's why I'm kind of wondering whether, right now, you want us to score everything, but not all of them can be scored, and so that I'm just looking as the benefit of like, oh, there are projects we know we want to talk about next week. My suggestion is we just make a list of what projects we want to talk about next week, and we do that. We've already had a significant amount of money we've already set aside without scoring, and at this point, yeah, we can still score, but I think we ought to discuss those. And I just rather throw out that rather than give you all the sheets and the ones that I can't score because they're not complete, we just give you a list. Here's the projects we need to talk about next week as to what we want to do. Does that make sense?
So are you going to give us that list then?
So if I'm understanding correctly, I can give you a list of those that are believed to be eligible and complete in your packets.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that works.
What I'd like to do is each of us just say, these are the ones we want to talk about. And all three of us come up and say, yeah, these are the ones we want to talk about. If there are ones that at this point I think it's premature to talk about, we just leave them off the agenda. We just don't talk about them quite yet because some are in development.
And some are time sensitive.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
can
Right.
indicate
Right.
If that's of value to you, which I am aware of.
Okay, yeah.
In terms of time.
Yeah, we've had a request from Metropolitan Housing as
Right.
one of those that, and I think those, yeah, definitely we need to talk about. There's others we can hold off, given what we know, and I'll just throw out there the jail. We know that there's I've shared with Scott and I have had some discussion at state level that House bill that they're working through to set up like an Ohio Facilities Commission process and set aside money for basically through the next state capital budget, a money set aside for jail projects. So I think it might be premature for us to make commitments we're going to go this route when we know that we might actually be eligible to do a project. So and we're also doing budget hearings.
Right.
And I'd
So
rather
my
combine some of these with budget discussions.
Right. So the one concern that I have with the
Yeah.
jail is, if I remember right from Stephen's presentation, Scott or Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, the boiler there was
Right. Right.
It needs to be replaced.
Okay.
So that part of it, we may want to go forward.
And that's what I'm saying,
The chiller
yeah.
and the other things, maybe we could push back a bit, but I think that was kind of
Actually,
critical.
Commissioner, you have. So you've already authorized the HVAC improvements through Equalis and Gardner.
Right.
Yep.
For the county home and the jail. So
Right.
those two congregate settings, those have already been approved by resolution and are in the list of dollars already dedicated.
Dedicated,
Right.
okay, all right.
And I know there's some of those HVAC projects, likewise, that we've been given, I think further discussion required before I score those. We have the animal shelter, we've got transit, and highway garage, all those, when you look at those, like, okay, I want more discussion before I would, quote, score them. So I think they ought to be on the agenda to discuss and get a little bit more detail. And it just makes more sense. And certainly, like the animal shelter, the cost was a sticker shock for me as to how much that's going to cost for that. And I don't know what the alternatives
So then
are.
we want two lists. We want the list to score, and we want a list to discuss.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, well, Colleen's not here anyhow, so I wouldn't want to go forward.
Oh, I agree.
Saying about her being
Agreed.
here, but-
Yeah.
Okay, anything else, Steve?
Nope, that
All
should do it.
I have nothing, so we're going to go into executive session now. We will come back out and adjourn the meeting when we're completed. It is 10:57. We're out of executive session. Steve, could I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second. Roll call, please.
Hambley?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Okay, now okay.
So, any suggestions on what Brian and I should do? We were both very